Okay, guys, we're on the last installment of simplifying rational expressions, and that's where we have a trinomial over a trinomial usually, or where we have to factor both of them or do something different to both of them instead of just one, or just factoring out a constant. So here we go. So on number 15, I need to factor both the top and the bottom. So on the top, tell me what multiplies to be 6 and adds to be 5. So give me two numbers. 2 and 3, correct. So on the top, I've got x plus 2 times x plus 3. Good job. And then I'm going to do my denominator. So I need two numbers that multiply to be 8 and add to be 6, which is going to be 4 and 2. So now I have x plus 4 and x plus 2. So now I'm going to look again, just like we've been doing. Do I have the same thing on the top and the same thing on the bottom? Well, yeah, look, I have an x plus 2 on the top, and I have a x plus 2 on the bottom, which means what do I have left on top is x plus 3 divided by x plus 4. And remember, we talked about I cannot cancel out the x's or make a 1 with the x's because there's a plus sign between them. My whole thing does not equal 3/4. It's x plus 3 over x plus 4. So this is my correct answer. Please make sure you ask if you have any questions about that. I am going to attach some sort of other videos other than this in the lesson. So if you have questions and you don't trust me, you can go to them also and watch those. So that will be in the Canvas lesson, in the Canvas assignment section. So here we go again. Again, I'm going to factor the top and the bottom. So give me two numbers that multiply to be -4 and add to be 3. So we've got 4 and -1. So a plus 4 times a minus 1. And for the bottom, I need two numbers that multiply to be -8 and add to be 2. So again, I think that's going to be 4 and -2. So I've got a plus 4 times a minus 2. So again, same thing on top and same thing on bottom as a plus 4. So what do I have left? A minus 1 over a minus 2. Done. Good job. Now we're going to go to number 17. I am going to attach these notes. I know I haven't said this earlier. I will attach these notes in Canvas in case you want them and want to actually write them out. That's up to you. But I will attach them in there in case you want to print them off and do it. I would just do them on a piece of paper if I were you guys, but that's me. So on the top, notice I'm going to see what goes into 4m squared and 20m. I know that because there's a 4 there, I'm not going to do, let's see, how do I want to put this? How do I want to say it to you since it's there? Because there's a 4 here, I'm not going to do the cross. Remember, the x factoring only works if there's nothing with the squared, right? So I'm going to try and get the squared by themselves. So what can I factor out of 4 and 20? Well, 4 goes into both. And then if I look at both of them, they both also have an m. So if I factor out of 4m, we can see what we have left. If I take 4m out of 4m squared, what do I have left? Remember what factoring is. It's unmultiplying. So if I multiply 4m times m, I better get 4m squared. And that's what I'm looking for. So if I multiply this back out, I should get, let's see, sorry, I want to get a highlighter here. I should get, that is not a highlighter. So sorry. I should get this right here. Okay, so if I multiply this out, I should get that. And that's what I'm really looking for. So if I take 4m out of 20m, what do I get left with? 4m times what equals 20m? Well, that would be 5. Okay, so now I'm going to factor my trinomial. I'm just going to come down here to the bottom here. And we say what multiplies to be -5 and adds to be -4. Well, there's only two numbers that multiply to be 5, which happens to be 5 and 1. And one of them has to be negative. And since I need a -4, it's going to be the -5. So I've got m minus 5 times m plus 1. And remember when I said, look what use what I know, what I've already have. Look, I can't even remember what I've said. See, look, I already know I had an m minus 5 up top, so I was pretty sure that I should have a m minus 5 in the denominator, and I did. So if you don't know what this is going to factor to down here, look and see what you already have, and probably 98% of the time or 99% of the time, one of those factors will be what you need to make your one. So I know I have an m minus 5 on bottom and an m minus 5 on top. So my answer is going to be 4m, because that's what's left on top, over m plus 1. Now I'm going to pause here again and say the 4 times the m is great. And if it was m times 1 in the bottom, then I could make a 1 with my m's, but it's not. It's m plus 1. So I don't know what that m actually is. This m on the bottom down here, this m is different than this one. So I cannot cancel them out. So please do not do that. My answer is 4m divided by m plus 1. Okay, so sorry, for some reason this is going a little crazy here. Here we go for our next one here. So we're going to do the same thing. This is just, it's got a cube in it. Oh, that's okay. We're just going to factor like what we know how to do, okay? So what goes into 6 and 8? Well, 2 does, okay? So I know that I'm going to factor out a 2 on the top. And they both have a p in them, so I'm going to factor out a 2p. So 2p times what gives me 6p cubed? Well, that would be 3p squared. Okay? And 2p times what gives me 8p? Well, I think that should probably be -4. Okay? And then we have my bottom. Well, what goes into 9 and 12? Pretty sure that's 3. And again, I have a p in both terms, so I'm going to factor out a p. And 9p times what gives me, 3p times what gives me 9p cubed. So that should probably be 3p squared. And 3p times what gives me -12p. So that should probably be -4. And then look, I have a 3p squared minus 4 on top and a 3p squared minus 4 on bottom. That makes a 1. I also have another 1 here because I have a p and a p. That makes a 1 also. So my answer is 2 over 3. Okay? Just by factoring, I've got that all. Pause for a minute, let you guys think about it. Okay, we're going to go ahead. I'm not going to quite pause for a minute. Sorry, you guys. We're going to go ahead and go on to number 19, which is very similar to number 18. Okay, and here we go. What can I factor out of 8x cubed plus 8x squared? Well, I know I can take an 8 out because there's an 8 in both terms. I'm going to come over here. And then, look, I have an x cubed and an x squared. What's the most amount of x's I can take out of both of them? Well, that would be x squared. So that leaves me with an x here plus, what do I multiply by 8x squared by to get 8x squared? Well, 1. So that's going to be a 1 there. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing in the denominator. Well, they're both 10, so I know I'm going to take a 10 out. And then I have an x squared and an x, so what's the most I can take out? Well, 1x. So that's going to leave me with an x plus 1 also. So my 1's are going to be x plus 1 over x plus 1. And then we're going to simplify it a little bit more here, by the way. What goes into both 8 and 10? 2, right? So 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. And then I've got an x and an x on the top and an x on the bottom. So that leaves me with 1 x on the top and no x's on the bottom, or in my denominator. Okay? All right. I hope that was okay with you guys, or I could cross this x off. Oops. Sorry, cross this x off, and one of these would go away. So I would have 1x left on the top up there. Okay. Oops, I forgot which way I was going. There we go. 20. Okay, before I factor these, I'm going to see what I can take out of the top. So out of the top, I'm pretty sure there's not a variable in all terms, but there is a 5 in all the terms. So I'm pretty sure I can take out a 5 out of the top. And I'll get y squared plus 5 goes into 10, 2y, plus 5 goes into 40. Oh, that's not a plus. That should be a minus 8. 8 times 5 is 40, yes. And all over, 10 goes into all three terms. So 10 goes into 10 once, 10 goes into 30 3 times, and 10 goes into 20 2 times. And now I'm going to factor my what's in the parentheses. So give me two numbers that multiply to be -8 and add to be 2. Well, that should be 4 and -2. So y plus 4 and y minus 2. Now, I can't get rid of the 5 yet. It's still right there outside, so I'm going to keep it out there. Same with my 10, and I'm going to do the same thing with the denominator. So give me two numbers that multiply to be 2 and add to be -3. But there's only two numbers that multiply by 2. That would be 2 and 1. But it needs to add to be -3, so I believe that's going to be -2 and -1. So y minus 2 and y minus 1. So now I'm going to simplify them. Well, 5 goes into 5 one time and into 10 2 times. And then I have a y minus 2 and a y minus 2. So what do I get left with? On top, I've got y plus 4. And on bottom, I've got 2 times y minus 1. And you do not need to multiply it out. You can just leave it just like that. That is fine. Sometimes, depending on if you have a multiple choice and they want you to multiply it out, you can. Maybe in Delta Math, they might want you to multiply it out. Just see how they want the answer at. But 90% of the time, they're going to want the answer like this. And just leave it like this, okay? So here we go. And I'm just going to have you leave the answer like this. So I think we've got about 4 more questions to do. So here we go. Okay. So what goes into 4 and 20? 4. And then I'll have k minus 5. And in the bottom... Okay, so now this is where we're going to have to kind of take we're going to have to kind of think about it a little bit, because 3 does not go into 14 or 5. Okay, but I know that the only thing that multiplies to be 3 is 3 and 1. So I know one of these has to be 3k, and this one has to be k. I hope you're okay with that. And then the only thing that multiplies to be 5 is 5 and 1. So remember when I said that sometimes when I need help factoring, I can look at this. Well, I know that I'm pretty sure that one of my factors is going to be k minus 5. Okay, so I'm going to say this is k minus 5, and this is going to be k plus 1. Well, how do we check to see if that's right? Well, we're going to just multiply it out. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to say 3k plus 1 times k minus 5. And I'm going to multiply it out and see if it's right. So I have 3k times k is 3k squared. And 3k minus 5 is negative 15k. And then 1 times k is 1k. And 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. And if I add it together, I get 3k squared minus 14k minus 5. And there it is. It's correct. So I know that these two are the same, so I know that I factored it correctly. So here we go. What's the same on the top and the bottom is k minus 5 and k minus 5. So what do I have left? 4 over 3k plus 1. And there's my answer. Beautiful. Good job. And I think that all the rest of them are going to kind of like that. They're going to be kind of a little tricky like that. And we're just going to use what we've been given to try and factor it out. So here we go for 22, a little bit harder. So there's nothing to take out of the top. I'm going to kind of start with the bottom, and I'm going to say this. This 4w squared minus 1 would be factored very similarly to w squared minus 4. So what would that be? Well, that would be the same as saying what multiplies to be negative 4 and adds to be 0. Well, negative 2 and 2, right? So that would be w minus 2 and w plus 2. Except now my 4 is where? Instead of my 4 being with the, by itself, it's with the w. So my 2's are going to be with the w's, and the 1's are going to be by themselves. So the bottom is going to factor to 2w plus 1 and 2w minus 1. Okay? So now we're going to have to figure out the top. I know that I've got 2 parentheses here. And I'm pretty sure that one of them is going to be 2w. Just going to say that. Pretty sure it's going to be 2w. And 2w times what w gives me 6w. So that will be 3w. So we're going to have to do a little more thinking on this one. Okay. So I know that one of them, with the 2w, it's probably going to be a 1 and a 4. So now I have to figure out what the sign is. Is it going to be plus 1 or is it going to be minus 1? So let's come over here. So if I have 2w something 1, right? And I have 3w something 4, we've got to figure out our sign. So 2w plus 3w is 6w squared. And 2w plus 4 is 8w. And then I have 1 plus 3w is 3w. And 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so I want to have this middle term. So this term is right, 6w squared. And this one is 4. This middle term needs to be what? A plus 5. So that means the 3 needs to be negative. So that means this is a negative and this is a positive. So plus 5w minus 4. So minus 1 plus 4. Because I needed to have a positive 5 in the middle. So 2w minus 1, 2w minus 1. And my answer is going to be 3w plus 4 divided by 2w plus 1. Also, I just want to say you could also factor this using the box method that we talked about also. So you could try that if this did not make sense on how I kind of guessed and checked what it was, because I already had something to go with. Okay, so 23. What can I take out of the top? Well, I can take a 2 out of the top, and I get b squared plus 6b plus 9. Pretty sure that's what it is. And what can I take out of the bottom? A 3. Just have an equal sign here. Oops. So I get b squared minus b minus 12. Okay, so we're going to factor the top. What multiplies to be 9 and adds to be 6. B plus 3, B plus 3. And what multiplies on the bottom? So what multiplies to be negative 12 and adds to be negative 1? Negative 4 and 3. So I have 1b minus 3 on bottom, so I can cross off 1 minus b on top. And my answer is going to be 2 times b plus 3 divided by 3 times b minus 4. Parenthesis. There's my answer. Good job, you guys. You're doing great. And here we go again. So this is another one where we're going to have to kind of do a guess and check, or we can do the box, which I think we'll kind of do the box for you guys to remind you what it is. So here we go. We're going to do the top. So this is 2y squared and 4. So I need two numbers that multiply to be 8 and add to be 9. So that's going to be 8 and 1. So that's 8y and 1y. And now I'm going to factor. So this would be 2y, and I said this is 1y. See, I can't even read my own writing. And this is 1, and this is y, and this is 4. So the top factors to be 2y plus 1 and y plus 4. In the bottom is 4y squared minus 3. So I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 12 and add to be negative 4. So pretty sure that's going to be negative 6 and 2. So negative 6y and 2y. So now we're going to factor again. So we've got 2y minus 1 and 2y. I think this is plus 1 and this is minus 3. There we go. So I've got 2y plus 1 and 2y minus 3. So those go away, and my answer is y plus 4 over 2y minus 3. And there we go. Okay, guys, so you have a few more questions to answer on here. Like I said, I will go ahead and put some other links on here. So if you still have some questions, you can watch other links, other videos on here that we've already found, or read some help on there. For this. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask me. The links will be in the Canvas. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.